Good afternoon today to everyone. Thank you very much for joining us to our webinar. Today we want to talk about MPIO, so multi-path I/O, and we want to show it working the MPIO together, DSS together with VMware and with Windows 2008. So we want to show whether we need to configure something on the DSS in order to get it ready to MPIO, or we want to show what we need to configure on ESX, and all these steps which are required on the Windows 2008. In order to prove that MPIO works, we will need to run some benchmark. In our case, I have prepared IOmeter for benchmarking. So then we'll be able to see and to prove whether MPIO really works, because we are expecting a linear performance scale with the MPIO. Okay, so first I will introduce the systems which I have prepared here for our workshop. So there is one DSS ready. And the DSS has a hardware RAID controller, and in our case this is Arica RAID controller, and we have prepared this with a RAID 5. Okay. There is 12 SAS hard disk here. Okay. And they are configured in the RAID 5. So with 12 hard disks, we can expect that the performance from which is with two paths like 200 megabytes per second should be possible. Okay, it is waiting for the RAID controller. By meantime, I will show you the chart which I have prepared for the testing. So the first chart, it is with the Windows. Okay. So in DSS we have two ports which we are going to use for MPIO, and the last time was showing more cards. So the one card was a kind of access card, and then two dedicated cards for the MPIO. But this is not a must. We can have two cards only. So two network controllers only, like here, and both can be used also for MPIO. So in my DSS, I will use two network interface cards with the address 0-230 and the 1-230. Okay, that's my DSS server. And in case of Windows, I will have also two cards only. And the first card is in the subnet 0, so 0.6, and the next card is in the subnet 1, so 1.6. Okay, and that's all. So it's very, very simple configuration. My network, so my notebook is also in subnet 0, so I'm accessing the Windows over the first network interface card, and the same, I'm accessing the web GUI of the DSS over first interface card. The second chart I want to show you, it's also very simple. Here we will have the same DSS, but I have configured two logical units and two targets. So first target will be for ESX and the second for Windows 2008. So for the both tests with Windows and with ESX, we will use the same DSS server. Okay, so that's the same as the previous chart, and here we will have ESX with following address, so the 0 in subnet 0.8 and in subnet 1.8, so two network interface cards, and the service console is also in subnet 0. Okay. On ESX, I have installed already Windows 2008 guest virtual machine, because I need any virtual machine to test, to run our benchmark. So this machine will be running on address 070, okay? So we'll have a console access to this virtual machine running on the ESX server. Okay, that's our that's the charts to test our goal. Let me switch to ESX first. Okay, so I'm stuck here party, so maybe I will close the session first. I'm starting the party, and my ESX server is on address 7. So when I load, so I'm going to connect to 192.168.0.7, and on the port 22 in the data I have already. I don't have, so I can put the root. So that's the username. And okay, I can save it, and then I will open. Okay, so because I put the root as a username, it is automatically putting me now my password 192. Okay, and now I have a console of my ESX server, so 192.168.0.7, and also I will start the ESXi, the graphical user interface of ESX. Okay, let us see how I have prepared the configuration here. So I have one dedicated network card for the first VMware kernel. So this VMware kernel, VM kernel is for the first iSCSI path. So here we have configured 192.168.0.8. Okay. First I will show what is configured, how it works, and later I can remove it and restart it from the scratch. Okay. So the second path is on 192.168.1.8, so in subnet 1, and the first in subnet 0, and here is also dedicated NIC. Okay. And please note that the management console, so my access is also in subnet 0. Good. Let me see if there are any questions. Okay, so the question was, so this is ESX without service console, eh? No, as you see, it is not, because in my case, the service console is also in the subnet 0. So everything is as usual. Okay, so that's my configuration, and I have prepared the access to console because we will need this to tune our settings, our configuration for MPIO. So my network is already configured, my storage is connected, so that's the local storage I have here, local disk, and that's my iSCSI disk, which is configured on the DSS V6 server. That's 200 giga disk. And as you see, if I browse directories, I have the just fresh installed Windows 2008 server. Okay, and this server is just running. Let us see, when I click on this server and go to summary, so I see that the data store is iSCSI. Okay, so the machine is placed on my iSCSI data store, and that's the running machine. The second one I have also on my local storage. So when I click on the summary, so this machine, which is not running right now, it's placed on my data store, so my local storage. Okay, so we see that my machine, which is just running, it is on our iSCSI. Good. So now let us switch to console of this machine. I'm closing my 06 server, and then I'm starting 70. Okay. I'm connecting to the console of the virtual machine. So just in order to make sure that this is the one, we can connect to the network. Okay, manage network connections, and we can see that the status, that is exactly 192.168.0.70. Okay, that's my virtual machine. Okay, also we can come back shortly to the ESX, and I go to console of this machine, and then we can log in here as well. So you see I'm remotely log on this machine. Okay, so that's I think that's enough to prove that's my machine. Okay, so I am switching back to our virtual machine, and on this machine I have just IOmeter. Okay, when I'm starting IOmeter is finding disks which are prepared to run IOmeter. So let me go to manage and computer. Sorry, not this one. I want to go to manage of my storage. Okay. So you will see that I have already prepared and formatted. I have here the disk, which is a virtual disk on my virtual machine. So this is not so very big, just 40 gigabyte disk. Okay, and we can see the same when I'm switching back to ESX. Okay, when I switch back to ESX, and when I go to summary, okay, then my virtual machine, yeah, that is net shared storage. That's exactly 40 giga disk. So that's the disk which was assigned to my virtual machine, and this virtual machine is placed on this data store, which is on iSCSI. Okay, good. So we know where we are, and then we can again see that this disk is here available. And why it is available? Because I have already created a test file. So when I go to Explore and go to the disk, so we see that the file, which is named iobw.tst, it is already available. What happened if I don't have this file? So let me delete this file. So this file is not available, and I will start IOmeter one more time. So IOmeter is finding this as not available because there is no test file. So when I start the test in IOmeter, it will start create such a file, and it will start create the file on the all available storage. So in our case is 40 gig, so we may wait a while for this file, and then we can see the test running. If you test a much bigger storage, like let's say 10 terabyte, then you will have to wait very long time until this test file is created. If you running IOmeter on format storage, then the disk is shown as a blue disk, and then you can start the test at once. In our case, we need to create this test file or wait until IOmeter creates the test file. We have a small program which will be available on our blog in next few days, which can create such a test file for IOmeter. I have already in temp directory, I have copied this file. So as you see, we have a test file creator. Okay, if I just run the test file creator without any parameter, it's show me with the prompt how to use it. So I need to use the test file creator and put the size of the file in kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, or even terabyte, and the file name. If the file name is not given, then we will just create, as is written here, iowt.tst, which is a test file for IOmeter. So let's say I want to create a 10 giga file. So I just say 10G small or capital, doesn't matter, it will create. So okay, I just have created the test file C IOBW size 10 gigabyte on in root directory. Okay, so when I switch back to my local disk, so you see the file is just created. So it is great because it is creating this file with the required size at once. So if you want, let's say, create one file which is a 10 terabyte big, you can just repeat the running the file, the test file creator, and you have the file ready in 1 second. So now, since the test file is created, we can start IOmeter one more time, and we'll see that this file will be no more not ready for test, will be ready at once. Okay, so I start at once, IOmeter one more time. Okay, good. So you see the disk is ready to test. I repeat one more time. This test file creator is ready to publish, and we will put it on our blog. So please visit our blog. Then you will find this file maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. We just need to publish. Everything is ready to publish. Maybe just using this opportunity, I will show you how to find our blog. So when you just run, just type blog.openit.com, okay, then you are landing in our blog, and then probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow you will see the new article which is about IOmeter, how to use it, and this test file creator will be available as well. One article which I want you to read is bonding versus MPIO explained. In this article, we are explaining what is the difference between bonding and MPIO, and when you need to use bonding and when you need to use MPIO. So this is explained here. Just to repeat, I want to say that the bonding is a solution which is working between a server and a switch, and MPIO is a solution which is working between a server and a workstation, or between server and the server. When DSS is a storage server and the ESX is a virtualization server, then both paths are coming directly from ESX to storage server directly, or also it can go through the switch, but the path starts at ESX and finish in DSS storage server. Bonding is different because the dual or quad bonding starts at the storage server and finish or stops at the switch. And on opposite side you have single cables from workstations or from other servers, right? So please read this article, that you will have many questions regarding difference between MPIO and bonding explained here. Okay, sorry about it. I just good. So now we are ready to start the IOmeter test. Okay, 70. So back in IOmeter, maybe good tip when you have one worker, you may have the test with the more workers. The more worker can get more from your system than over the only one. So maybe I just click here to create more workers. So I have let's say 4 workers created. Then I select the server itself, and when I select the server, then I can put the few parameters which are important for IOmeter test. So that's the number of outstanding IO. That's the first parameter. You can put few IOs waiting in the queue to be completed. That's the typical SCSI behavior, that you can have the more SCSI commands waiting to be processed by the storage system. I can put, let's say, 10 or 16. That's the most typical. And also I need to select the drive to be tested. So in my case, my virtual machine has just only local drive. So I select this drive, and when I want to unselect, I can click just with Control. So select is with just clicking on the mouse, and the Control and the clicking unselect. Okay, so I have selected this. Let me prove whether IOmeter has selected the drive in all workers. So the first is selected. Second, unfortunately not. It looks like bug. You see the worker has already changed the number of outstanding IO, but it's not selected. So let me go here, select. This is okay. Select. So now I need to prove that all the settings are really identical. That's the first step. Next step, I need to define or select one of defined already, so-called access specification. That's the test pattern. What is in such a test pattern? Let us edit one of ready. So when I edit one, so that's the name of this test pattern, and then we see that the block size is 32 kilobytes. Then we see that the access pattern is sequential. It can be part sequential, part random, or 100% random. Also, it can be part of writing, part of reading, or only writing. So this particular pattern is prepared for 32K block, 0% reading and 0% random. It means 100% sequential and 100% write. I can select this pattern, or I can also create different pattern. Let's say not with 32K block, but let's say with a 64K block. But I can also select this one. But anyway, I will show you how to create new one. So let me just click on new, and let's say that will be 64K sequential write. Then in my case, I need to put 64K block. I need to select 100% sequential, and I need to select 100% write. So that's okay. I have created such a pattern here, and having selected the server and clicking on Add button, IOmeter is supposed to add this testing pattern to every worker. But please prove whether it's true, because if it's not, then your result will be very funny. So here, worker 2, worker 3, worker 4. So all workers has really this test pattern. Okay, that's good. And now the last thing is a result display. We need to set, let's say, every second or every 2 seconds the update frequency. Every 1 second, then we will have frequently updated. And now we are ready to start the test. So when I click on the start button, it wants me to save the settings, but you can save or you can cancel if you don't want to have it registered or saved on the disk. This can save, and the file which can be later on imported to Excel. So I cancel, I don't need the results, and it is starting the test already. Okay, so in my case I see just only 100 megabytes per second, and I'm expecting actually more than 100 megabytes per second. Let us check what happened if I change the access specification. So I remove it. Oh, actually this access specification is good enough. I supposed to have already better performance. Let me check whether I need to prove something or test or tune something. Okay, so let us come back to the ESX, and in ESX we can just go to networking. So both networking are working with the, you need to check whether your connection speed is proper. So if you will see 100 here instead of 1000, of course something wrong. So in my case this is okay. And there is one more thing which we can prove. It's the settings which is made for the MPIO. So here I can put the command ESX. Maybe I will show you the first step, which is important here. Get into such a console. In our case we have ESX4. So in ESX4 you need to click Alt F1 on the console and write just unsupported, and in this case it will come the login prompt and you can log in into the party. After you log in, then you need to enable remote SSH connection. So I have it in one of our presentation here, ESX mit MPIO. Okay, in this presentation we have I make it big. So we have it here that if you have the ESX, then you can go to Nano. It's a different editor, and edit this SSH SSID config. Change the permit root login to yes. In case of ESX4, you need to use the built-in VI editor, and config file which you need to edit is inetd conf, and you need to remove the comment character from the first SSH line. And how to use VI editor you can find on just on the web. Okay. Also, when you don't want to reboot, you can find out with ps grep. You can find the process number, and then you can send the signal to this process number, and it will restart the SSH. So you don't need to reboot the whole server. Okay, in order to list the MPIO devices, there is a command ESX CLI NMP device list. So let us start this command. Okay, so we can just put ESX CLI NMP device list. Okay, so we have a device list. The one with EUI, that's the device, storage device, iSCSI. And we see that we have the IOPS policy and the bytes here. So this is a parameter which we are going to change. In order, when you change this parameter, you can get the different results on MPIO benchmarking. So by default, this parameter is quite big, and we need to change it for the smaller value to have the better performance. So in plenty of different tests, especially some done by our partners, one from our friend from Italy, Systrate, they have tested different parameters, and they have found out that you need to put the bytes, that's the one parameter, and then you need to put the IO per second for about 100. If you put one, then benchmarking test will show good value, but some other applications will not run so fast as you expect. And to make these settings permanent, we want you to, that's the next page, we want you to add these lines into rc.local. Okay, so I have added this in rc.local. That's the kind of auto exec which is starting with when the ESX server started. So let me edit this. So, or let me display this on the screen. So etc and rc dot. When I press the tab, okay, it will just complete the command. So you see, I have entered in my RC these lines, and these lines will cause that the reading this device list, and will find this EUI part, and then we can change the config for bytes for this number, and we can change the IOPS, so how many IOs to switch to different path for this number. Okay, and that's the device which is read from this list. Okay, so every time when the ESXi is starting, these lines, this script will be executed, and you will tune the ESX for better performance. So we can edit these lines. So instead of cut, I will put V. That's the editor built in. Okay, I'm editing this file. In order to change the settings, we need to switch from the command mode to the inserting mode. So when I press the I button on the keyboard, okay, now I switch to the inserting mode. When I press, let's say, 0, then I'm changing this parameter from 10 to 100. Okay, now my editing is done, so I want to save the results, and in order to save the results, I need to switch to the command mode. In order to switch to command mode, I just press escape button, and now I want to enter the command to save and quit. So my command must be colon, and first command is write, so W, and the second command is quit. Okay, when I execute it, then I'm back in my shell, and when I display my RC local, then you see it is already changed after this. Okay, so now when I have changed this already in my rc.local, but it is still not changed in the device, because when I list the device, I see that this IOPS is still 10. Okay, and I need to run rc.local in order to have this change. So let us run etc rc.local. I run it. After running this, when I display the device list configuration, okay, we see that we have just changed this to 100 right now. Okay, that's a easy way of changing and tuning configurations for the iSCSI MPIO device. Unfortunately, it is still not available in the GUI, and we need to use the console tools to change these parameters. Okay, so let me come back to our sorry, I want to come back to our test machine. Okay. Okay. Good. Do I have any? I have also saved some testing pattern here. Let me select 256, right? Okay, let me check whether all the settings are selected. Okay, and let me run the settings. Okay, so here I see 205 megabytes per second. Okay, let me stop it, and we can exit and start one more time, and I can select 64K, right? We need to prove whether all these are selected, and the access specifications are 64K, right? Okay, then we can start the test. It's also showing now value something like 220 megabytes per second. Okay, so let me see the let me see the IOmeter, and not the IOmeter, but the ESX. Okay, that's probably these two. Two and three. Okay. There is a small problem. 2 and 3. I have some problem because the transmit should go on the both NIC, and in my case it is showing only on the 1. Okay, so I will need to find out where the reason. Okay, maybe let me stop by a while and check what are the questions. Okay, is it possible to virtualize OpenE without a OS, or should you always have a server OS for hosting OpenE? Okay, the OpenE DSS is already operating system, so and it is booting just Linux Debian with the storage management on top on it, and it is always working together. There is no way to separate it so far. So if you just want to run DSS as a virtual machine, you can just get the ISO file, and you can select new machine, and the new machine as a typical. The typical machine can be just your name, and put on which storage, on which server you want to place it, and then select just Linux, and you can select just a Debian version 4 64-bit. That's the proper machine for to run DSS as a VMware guest machine. After you complete it, you just need to select CD or DVD as a boot device, and take the ISO and use ISO installer to install on this machine. So this machine, you need just 2 giga space, because we will not use more. You can have even 1 giga space, but the 2 giga space is optimal, and then you can install DSS on the 2 giga space, and then DSS, when the start, will be ready to connect some other virtual hard disks or direct raw hard disks, right? Okay, that's the question. Let me check the next question. So what is now the optimum value for the IOPS? In presentation it says 1, but in RC was first 10 and now should 10. So now 100. Okay, so we have the if we have the 1, it means every IO will switch the path to the different path. Let's say 10, it means every 10 IO will switch to different path. When it's 100, it means every 100 IO will switch to different path. Or when the bytes is there, then it means also when it's 64K, then it will switch also to different path. This depends on the application you are running. Every time when I was running IOmeter, then doesn't matter if I have this parameter equal 1 or to 10 or to 100, I am always seeing almost the maximum possible performance. But some, let's say when you start copy, then you can see that the copy of file work better when this parameter is not equal to 1 but equal to 100. Okay, so you may test this by yourself, but according to one of our partners, which was dealing with this quite a long time, he will put this parameter IOPS to 100 and bytes to 64K. Next question. You didn't show how to configure VM HBA inside ESX GUI. Yeah, I'm going to show it in a few seconds. Okay. what's happening when the path is unavailable. Does DSS detect automatically the failure? So in such case, DSS is not managing the path. DSS here is a kind of passive member. ESX is controlling this because ESX is using this storage. So if one path failed, then the second path, the only one path will work, and ESX should be not having any interrupt here. Okay, so let me come back to the I was having some few things which I noticed by meantime, which I didn't like and I wanted to prove. Okay, the first one was I was trying to start in my GUI. I was trying to start the Arica RAID controller, and it was somehow taking long time. Now it's okay. So I wanted to show you which the RAID level. So that's the RAID 5. Okay, that was missing on the beginning. Then we can log out. In the DSS, actually we didn't have a special settings. We have 4 interface cards, but we are using only these 2. So the first one is 0-230, and the second one which we are using is 1-230. That's it in DSS. There is no more settings which we need to do, and we just have 2 targets which I mentioned before. So in target 0, the alias target 0, that's the target name here. Okay, that's the target name, and you see we have a 200 giga disk, and the second target disk for Windows 2008. Okay, and that's about 100 giga disk. Okay, that's it in my DSS settings. I was surprised that something wrong with the settings I have right now. I don't know what I changed by meantime, but actually when I run this and I have the settings set properly, maybe I forgotten one thing, because here in script I don't have the settings for the round robin. Let me see if I have configured the path in the storage adapter for round robin properly. So when I manage the path, it is round robin. Okay, good. And when I go to properties, we have both paths. So actually everything looks like is configured properly, and storage okay, everything is proper, but in my settings still something didn't work with 2 paths. Okay, 200. Let me start the test one more time. Okay. It is starting the test, but it is unfortunately coming down. So it is not stable. It's supposed to stay on the stable value. Is it now? We need to wait for the longer time and see whether it stays on the longer, on the same value. When this is the case, then means both paths are really used and MPIO is working properly. When this is the case, then also the server in the performance, okay, on performance should show traffic on the both NICs, but in my case it is not the case. So there is something wrong in my configuration. I will need to check, and if somebody probably you will be interested what was wrong, then I will just send the email to inform you what was my mistake here, because as you see, the only one card is really active, and this what IOmeter is showing, it is partly testing in the cache. I see the next question. If you were using only one IOmeter worker process, could it utilize both MPIO paths or only one? MPIO works also for one worker. There is no the must to use more workers, because MPIO is working as a round robin, so it is trying to transfer all coming transfer into ones to left, ones to right side, if you have two only, or you can have even four, then it is switching between all available paths. Okay, next question, shouldn't you have four paths, both NICs of ESXi and both NICs of OpenE? No. The two paths are quite okay. Next question, what kind of switch is required? Actually, a switch is working passive way here, so switch is not really have influence on this. You can, as I mentioned, you can connect the path directly without switch, but you can also go through the switch, and this is the case which I'm using, and the switch really doesn't matter. Okay, so maybe by meantime I will find out the problem which I have with ESX. Let us try also the Windows 2008. So I will stop this test. It is something wrong, because my test is showing all the time 200 megabytes per second. So maybe I choose the wrong graphics, wrong cards, because for the longer time it stay on 200 megabytes per second. Then when I have one path, then it's supposed to show only 100 or something about 100. But I need to check what's wrong with the chart on the ESX. Okay, because we are going to start the same test on another machine, I will need to stop it, or let us run it, and then we'll stop it later on. So I'm switching now to my 2006 server, to the same one which is running ESX. And in this server, if we manage the network connections, we see you have two network cards in my server. So the first card is, as I already shown in the chart, is 192.168.0.6. Okay, and the second card is, as I shown, it is in subnet 1.6 as well, so 192.168.1.6. Okay, that's the both cards which are available in our Windows 2008 server, and I'm going to run the test from this server. So in order to run the test, I need, of course, iSCSI initiator. And the iSCSI initiator so far is, I entered two portal, the 0230, that's the subnet 0 of the DSS, and the 1230, that's the second target IP which is available on the DSS. So both paths are entered, and then I had to log on twice. So maybe I will log off in the short time, then you will see how it works. And when I go to details, then I see both paths. Okay, and when I go to devices and advanced, then there is MPIO button. And this MPIO button, I must also select round robin. Okay. Good. So it means my settings is already selected. And when I go to manage path in my storage, the disk, you see that that's the 100 giga disk. When I go to properties, then I have MPIO button as well, and I must make sure that here the MPIO round robin is selected as well. Okay. Good. Then let us run IOmeter. And okay, we can try with the two workers as well. My drive, we have seen that's the drive F. I didn't really notice. So let us manage one more time to make sure, because there is so many drives here. Okay, that's the one, that's the drive F. It is already formatted with NTFS. It means I will need on my drive F, I will need also the test file. Okay, the test file is already created. It's also 10 gigabyte file. I have created also with the test file creator. Okay, so I can select for first worker, I can select my disk. For the second worker, I select my disk. And now I select the server, I put 16. Okay, so I need to make sure that both has 16. Yes, that's the case. Now I will maybe make some new specification, 634K. Okay, sequential write. Then we select sequential write. Okay, and then I edit. So let me check. Okay, both worker has the same settings. Then we can start the testing. And whoa, we see very low result. This is because I'm running the test, the same test on another machine. And of course, when I'm running the test from both machines, the result cannot be as good. So let us switch to the our virtual machine. Okay, virtual machine can stop the test already. When I stop the test on our virtual machine and then rerun the test one more time, then of course we can see that it really works. And on this machine I go on test over physical IP. So when I go to the task manager and networking, then I must see that both the network interface card are fully saturated, fully used. So you see both are almost 100%, and that you can see on the chart that both interface cards are fully used by this. That's it. That's proving that MPIO round robin is working here. I could not prove with the network card on the virtual machine, because on the virtual machine I was testing a local disk directly. The local disk was placed on the iSCSI, and this is a separate machine, and the separate machine is connected to the iSCSI target over iSCSI initiator, over this one. Okay, over iSCSI initiator, and this is why I go over two network cards when I run my IOmeter test. Okay, so here we can be quite sure that MPIO works properly. We have stable 200 over megabytes per second, and we see that the both cards are really used. Okay, so that's here there is a clean situation. I will also want to show you how to configure Windows properly. We have the presentation which is available on our website, and I would like to ask you to use our website to download these presentations. So if you go to library, and in the library you can click on how to resources, and the how to resources you can find in others, you can find the presentation how to configure MPIO with 2008 server. That's the one, and here you have a step-by-step what do you need to click in Windows 2008 to get this MPIO working properly. And same thing with ESX4. Here in presentation we are showing ESX. In today's webinar we were showing ESXi. There is almost no difference. The only difference is that in ESX you have a in the console tool you have a nano editor, which is much easier to use, and ESXi so far there is only VI editor, which is not so easy to use. But if you just follow my presentation, then you will be able to edit and change the values. Okay, so coming back to the Windows 2008, in the Windows 2008, when you open this presentation, you will see there is a few steps you need to follow in order to get Windows 2008 working properly. So I would like to tell you that the first very important step is that you need to go to Features and make MPIO, select MPIO and install MPIO, because on the fresh Windows 2008 system, multipath is not installed. Okay, so after installing this, you need to make any dummy iSCSI connection. So you need to make the iSCSI initiator working with any dummy connection, and then when you open the MPIO in administrative tools, then you will select the Discover MPIO path, and then you need to add this support for iSCSI devices. And I want to warn you that if no iSCSI initiator is active, this will be not able to select. So that's the probably bug in Windows, or maybe something else. But when iSCSI is working, you will be able to select, okay, and just reboot the system. After rebooting the system, we will be able to go to the iSCSI initiator, just enter both, or maybe 4 if you have more paths, to the iSCSI initiator, and then log on twice. I can show you how to log on twice in our case, because now I'm logged on to my system. Let me see if I close the, okay. In our iSCSI initiator, we see that we are log on to our system, we can go to details and we can log off both paths. When we log off both paths, then our disk will be no more available. You see the disk F disappear. Okay, so now we have inactive, so we need to log on to the target. So we log on first with enable multipath, and in advanced we can select the first path. So when I select first path, in this case I select 0 to 130, that's my first path. Okay, now I'm connected, but when I go to details, I'm connected only on one path. So we need to make the second path active. In this case, we click on log on one more time, enable multipath, and in advanced we select the second path. Okay, that's 1 to 130. Good. The second path is selected. Then in details we see that both paths are selected. Then we need to make sure that the round robin is selected. So we go to devices, advanced button, and MPIO, and then we have already a round robin because it was selected last time. But when you will configure this very first time, you will see that it is failover only. And in such case, of course, you will not see performance scale to 200 megabytes per second. Good. That's logging into the iSCSI initiator, and afterwards, when the iSCSI initiator is already connected, then we see our new disk. First time you will need to format the disk. Okay. And after formatting the disk, you will need to make sure in the properties that the disk also, you will see the MPIO button and the round robin is running. Once this is everything checked, then you can start your IOmeter. You will need to create the test file for IOmeter, of course. And once if file for IOmeter is not created, you will see the F drive as also not usable at once. It will need to create the test file. Okay, that's, I think, all about the Windows and 2008. Let me check the questions. The next question is, when I use 2 NICs of 1 giga each for MPIO, does that mean that I have a transfer rate 2 gigabit, or I have plus minus 200 megabytes per second? So gigabit, it is about a bit more, but it is about 100 megabytes per second. So when I have 2 1 gigabit NICs, then in MPIO I'm expecting something about 200 megabytes per second. In our test, when I'm using a big enough a block size, then we have seen 225 or something megabytes per second, right? In such case, the both paths are fully saturated, almost 99% of possible transfer rate we can observe, right? Next question, is DSS iSCSI failover possible for MPIO? Oh yes. In our presentations, when we have the iSCSI failover, we show one virtual IP on one of the network cards. So let's say you have more network interface cards available in your system, and then on the first pair you will enable first virtual IP, and on the next pair you will enable another virtual IP. In such case, your iSCSI failover system will have not only one virtual IP, but will have the 2 virtual IP. The first virtual IP on the first pair of NIC, and the second virtual IP on the next pair of NIC. Then you have iSCSI failover with 2 virtual IP, and then next the installation of the ESX or Windows 2008 is identical as I just made. The only difference is that instead of putting this physical IP which I have with non-iSCSI failover, you will put your virtual IPs. And you will also observe the scale of performance for 200 megabytes per second. So it works, and to make it easier, we are also preparing the next presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, which will show how to configure iSCSI I/O, and instead of configuring only one virtual IP, we'll also configure next virtual IP to show this how it works with ESX or Windows 2008. By the way, it works also with Xen Citrix. In Xen Citrix, when you enter the target IPs, you need to first enable the multipath in the Citrix settings, and then next enter the IPs with comma. So the first IP and then comma and the second IP, and then in such case you will have the multipath working. We are preparing also presentation for multipath with the Xen, so soon we will show it also with Xen. Next question. Does it make sense using more than 2 gigabit NIC, or from which disk count and type SATA SAS does make sense of using more than 2 gigabit NICs? So let's say if you have, in my case I have 12 SAS disks, so I may expect that my RAID will be in a position even to make 400 megabytes per second on writing quite easy. So in my case, when I connect 4 paths, I suppose to observe performance more than 300 and almost 400 megabytes per second as possible. Why not? You can try it, and it should scale exactly as it scales with 2. I don't know, we never try. Actually, we try once to configure multipath with 8 paths, but it was not scaling because the RAID array was too slow already. Maybe when we will configure RAID 0 and 16 hard disk, then we'll see the better scaling. But please note that the RAID array when you have redundant RAID, RAID 5 or RAID 6, is quite a bit slower than RAID 0. So when you just want to, for the laboratory testing, then you can configure RAID 0, but please never use RAID 0 for the production. It is quite dangerous, as you know, because the hard disk tends to fail, and then when the one hard disk fails, then of course the all RAID 0 RAID array is unreadable. Good. If you have a backup, you can just restore your data. What about RAID 10? Okay, RAID 10 is just combination of the RAID 1 and Stripe, and this is of course a redundant RAID array. And the RAID 10 tends to be faster than RAID 5. Depends on the RAID controller and which kind of hard disks. Maybe hard disks not, but the RAID controller chipset itself. Maybe how many hard disks you are using. This is also important. But RAID 10 is of course redundant and you can use, but the capacity is half of your number of your disks, so it is not so efficient. This is why many people using RAID 5 or RAID 6. RAID 50 should have a fair enough I/O penalty for 4 NICs, I think. Yeah, RAID 50 is a combination of RAID 5 with striping, and this is also redundant RAID, and mostly configured with a big number of disks. Then you can also expect good RAID I/O. That's true. Next question: what is the best way restore the system if it's breakdown but the critical error. What is the best way to restore the system if breaks down by the critical error? So if the probably when you are running iSCSI failover or volume replications and additionally backups, we have plenty customers which are running iSCSI failover or just volume replication. So they have two machines where the volumes are synchronous way replicated. Then your data exists on the both machines, and additionally, because the kind of RAID 1 over the network will not secure you from all the problems, it is just a good solution when your hardware dies or some other problems. Then you have your data, fresh data available from the second machine at once, and you don't need to restore. But in case of user failure, that some data are deleted or corrupted because of some virus or some other problems, then of course you need to make a backup data on the regular basis. And in such cases, if you have a redundant iSCSI failover, when your data will be deleted, then there are both machines deleted. So in such case, there is no protection. Same as RAID 1 is also not a backup. It's not the protection of your data. It is only giving you option to continue work when the one of the part is having a failure. Yeah, that's very, very similar running RAID 1 and running iSCSI failover or running volume replication. You need still extra kind of backup or kind of other more replication running in asynchronous way. Okay, that was the question. Next one. Come on, disk space is not that expensive anymore. Yes, exactly, and that's the very good tip, because in my case I was never using tapes, only using some extra NAS servers, and I'm replicating the data to two locations. Then in such case I'm almost 1000% sure that all three locations will not die at the same time. Yeah, that's very difficult to kill the data if the data are replicated to few locations. I was from time to time I was telling a story when the one girl was the naked photos were distributed over the internet, and the girl came to police and was asking them how we can delete this. So they told her it is impossible to delete because hundreds or thousands of people already replicated to the anonymous machines. That's it. And another story is when the administrator is coming to us and asking a user deleted the data and how to recover the data. So the girl will envy this administrator that he get the data so easy deleted, and this administrator will envy the girl that she is not able to delete the data, and he would like to have this status that his data are somehow rock solid existent. It means what to do, replicate to more than one location. That's it. Especially when the hard disk space is really cheap today. Next, what about iSCSI and SMB shares? In this means of that the iSCSI hosts the shares. We provide, as you can see, more logical volumes, and every logical volume can be different type. We have whether NAS volumes or iSCSI volumes or fiber channel volumes. iSCSI and fiber channel in this case are almost logically identical because these are simulating a disk in the network, So that's so-called storage under our network, SAN. And NAS disks are just, in this case, you will find it in network neighborhood. You will find such disks under the DSS server. So you will find a server in your network, and this server has directories, shares, which are available on the network, and based on the authentication which you have on your network, you will have access to these directories. In case of iSCSI, you just need to format such a disk on your access workstation or access server, and you are using, in this case, the same file system which you are using in your workstation or in your server. Okay, next question. Do you also have how-to for MPIO for Linux machines? We are running heterogeneous environments and would like to use it for Win and Linux machines. Yes, so MPIO for Linux, it is also possible, and you can read one of our blog article. There is something about MPIO under Linux, and maybe we will prepare some next webinar for the MPIO under Linux. So far, just please read the blog and try to find some how-to on Google so far. If you will not manage this, just let us know. Just write email to Oda, and then we will try to prepare the next webinars with the Linux as well. More demand was for Xen Citrix so far. Next question. Is it very interesting very interesting presentation. Is it possible to get a video cut of the presentation for download? Yes, exactly. The person which sent you the invitation, just write email to her. She will send you the link tomorrow. The presentation will be available on our FTP today. Next question. You misunderstood question. We have a ESXi hosting Windows 2008 server. This server mounts iSCSI volume that hosts SMB shares. Okay. Being made available through Windows 2008 server. Is there anything regarding iSCSI boot order? Okay. So you are running ESX, and which is running 2008 as a guest machine. Okay, nothing special, just regular thing. And this virtual machine mounts iSCSI volume. This is also very typical, and hosts SMB shares being available through the 2008. So okay, this 2008 server has a iSCSI targets connected via iSCSI initiator, and using this iSCSI target storage as disks for 2008. This is very okay. Is there anything regarding iSCSI boot order? In such case, I don't see any iSCSI boot order. You are not, if you want to boot the 2008 directly from iSCSI, this is maybe, I don't see the problem here. I don't see the problem here. So maybe I really don't understand your issue. I will just say that you may please contact me tomorrow if you still have this not answered, or maybe write one more time that I understand what is the issue here. Okay, next question. You only can't boot the ESX from software initiator, just the only limit. You only can't boot the ESX from software initiator. Yeah. As a hint for the former question, actually, I understand probably now what is the question. I have a host, and this host has no local disks, just a network interface card, maybe HBA, or maybe just a Intel card with the iSCSI boot firmware. And in such case, you can boot the ESX not from the local storage, but from the iSCSI target as well. I know such installations, and I know that some people are using this, but I will not recommend it, because this can cause some problems. I will always try to boot ESX server from the local, small local RAID 1 or something like this. If this is not possible because of some hardware you have available, and you must boot ESX host from iSCSI, I say this is possible. I know such installations, but I say in some case of problem with iSCSI target, you may have really a big problem to get the ESX running. So I will not recommend it. I know also plenty installation when the people boot Windows 2008 machines directly from the iSCSI target. It works as well. You can use, let's say, QLogic HBA, where you can boot the machine over iSCSI. Also, you can use the Intel iSCSI boot firmware, so you need to refresh the server card with the firmware, and then you can also boot. I know there are some problems when you boot from iSCSI failover, and we have solved this problem for the QLogic HBA. You need the special settings that the iSCSI machine, which is boot from iSCSI, will have no problem with failover. You will need extra settings in the HBA. So if you will have such a issue, just contact with our support. They will send you the advice, or it is maybe even to find in our knowledge base. Okay, next question. Okay, I'm having low speed copying files between different virtual machines. Is it possible to copy files between NFS shares from inside OpenE? Yeah, when you have NFS shares, then in such case, yes, because you can run the data replication, and in the data replication, but we are replicating based on the shares. So if you want to copy just a single machine, you will need to have it available in the subdirectory, and make this subdirectory as a share, and then you can run rsync, because for the data replication we are running rsync in a local way, and then you can have the local copy of such machines based on NFS. Yeah. If you are running iSCSI, then unfortunately not. We are not mounting iSCSI locally in DSS, so you can only do external. Okay, so actually we are running out of time. I was planning to show you today more, because also I was planning to show the configuration on the probably there is something wrong with my chart with this. I have noticed that I have some problem with my chart on the ESX, and that was the reason that the NICs maybe were showing wrong value. Probably I need to select more NICs to see probably it was yes, transmitted on the 0 and 3, and that was my mistake today. And because the MPIO was finally working, and when we were switching back to the this 70, I will try one more time. Yes, and this is showing proper value. And let me go to the ESX, and then we should now see something which is latest. Zero, looks like 0 and the 3. It's really supposed to have some traffic now. Yeah, data transmit. It is starting to moving the data right now, and you see right now I have a proper value. So the total is 200 megabytes per second, and both NICs are showing 100 megabytes per second. Yeah, so it is the pity that I was not able. I've noticed this too late. That's something wrong with my graphics. But now my graphics are showing proper value. Okay, and then yeah, that's it. In this case, we see that the total is touching 200 megabytes per second, and the virtual machine which we are testing right now having a stable 200 megabytes per second, right? Okay, as I mentioned, I was planning to configure ESX from the scratch, but we are running out of time, and I will just plan one more sessions about this, and then on the next sessions we will start differently. That we will start from 0, configuring everything. Then in such case you can follow click by click the presentation, but it is not so pity because we have these PowerPoint presentations, and these PowerPoint presentations also showing click by click how to get into the system running properly. And when you download these presentations, that in normal case you will be also in the position to get it running. Okay, so let me see if there are some more questions. The next question was, is vMotion also MPIO enabled and works as expected? Yes, the vMotion is actually transparent for MPIO. You can have it configured with or without MPIO, and the vMotion works as well.